Hello, brethren. So we've made it to episode 3 of From the Horse's Mouth, the Norfolk Freemasonry podcast. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. It's always great to have your company and your support. Last month, we caught up with Provincial Scribey, Worshipful Brother John Parfitt, and Provincial Grand Secretary, Worshipful Brother Graham Kynock. And as the province moves more towards electronic communication and records and everything being computerised, they told us that they're here to help.
We're not unapproachable. We're here to facilitate the smooth running of the province, and helping people is the biggest part of that.
If you haven't caught up with that episode yet, there's still time to download it from the Norfolk Freemasonry website or from wherever you get your podcasts. This month, we're talking about those truly Masonic ornaments, benevolence and charity.
From the Horse's Mouth, the Norfolk Freemasonry podcast.
So we welcome this month Provincial Almoner, Worshipful Brother Neil Thomas. Neil, welcome.
Good afternoon, Jono.
And from the MCF Advice and Support team, Caroline Wells. Welcome, Caroline.
Hello.
So let's start by finding out more about your roles. Caroline, what do you do?
Yeah, so as you quite rightly said, I'm part of the Advice and Support team, and that's shortened to AST. So I'm one of 12 people based around the country who offers confidential, impartial and practical guidance for Freemasons and their families.
Neil, we're all familiar with the incredibly important role of almoner on a local lodge level. How does the role of provincial almoner differ?
The initial part is exactly the same. It's for the care and welfare of the brethren and their families within this province. It moves on because I manage 7 visiting volunteers who carry out the work on behalf of the Masonic Charitable Foundation, completing applications for support. I also report back to the Provincial Executive, giving updates on the awards and grants that have been given out across the province. My work is totally within this province, so I don't see anything else. So my sole purpose is Norfolk Province.
How do your two roles link together? Do you work together on a day-to-day basis?
Not on a day-to-day basis. We work together regularly. If there are areas where either of us have concern, we are available to assist each other. Caroline is the expert and is the person I go to when I'm struggling to find an answer or a solution. So, yeah, Caroline's my go-to.
So, yeah, we work closely together on various different issues, don't we, really? We talk on the phone a lot and just bounce off each other, really. I think that's and as much as you say I'm an expert, you're my expert in Freemasonry. So if people talk to me about things that I don't quite understand, I'll call Neil and say, what does this mean?
Do you know much about Freemasonry?
I do now. Coming into the job nearly 5 years ago, I didn't, but no, I do now. I know the basics. I know what I need to know.
The Norfolk Freemasonry podcast.
So the MCF, Masonic Charities Foundation, a vital part of the Masonic network across the UK, not just here in Norfolk. What does it do? What kind of support is available?
There's loads of support available from the MCF, and I think I need a few hours here to just detail everything. But there's some key areas of what we do support people, Freemasons and their families with. So we provide daily living costs, and that's shortened to DLC. So that's providing help for financial strains faced by Freemasons and their families in a need of crisis, really. These grants help with the cost of running a home and responding to an emergency of whatever kind. They are means tested, and applicants have to be, in receipt of certain things and certain benefits. So, there is a process to go through. So, yeah, DLC, daily living costs, is certainly a big area of what we do and what we support with. There's also health and care and well-being, which is a big area. So that covers things like funding medical assessments and treatment, mobility equipment, and supporting carers as well. So that's a really big need of supporting people with their healthcare and well-being. Also, children, young people in education, supporting young people in education or training to achieve their full potential and really maximise their their talents really, so that they have the same opportunities as everybody else in their class and their peers. So that could mean providing computer equipment, educational assessments that they can't get done in a normal way, apprenticeships, and supporting for exceptional talent, things like that. There's a wealth of support available.
How does the MCF work with the province of Norfolk? What are you doing to support us here? Anything special? I know we're in festival at the moment.
Yeah, so working alongside Neil, we've got a very busy weekend ahead of us. We've got 2 conferences.
Tomorrow's 2 conferences, yeah.
So I'll be attending those, giving a presentation, giving talks, meeting almoners, discussing any issues, hopefully some visiting volunteers maybe. I also attend any other meetings that Neil likes me to go to that he thinks would be beneficial, and that could mean widows groups, but just anything really, anything that is being held that they think that that we could help and spread the word really of what support is out there.
Caroline, is it just you looking after Norfolk, or do you have a team behind you?
It's just me, but it's not only Norfolk. I cover Suffolk, Essex, Norfolk and Cambridgeshire.
Have you found yourself becoming busier in recent years after the COVID pandemic?
Yeah, I think over that time the period or the need of support obviously changed dramatically overnight. But I think now with the crisis with the NHS and people waiting for medical surgeries and things like that, there's massive demand on that. And mental health as well, there's a real need for the MCF to support people with their mental health.
We're going to be hearing at the end of the podcast from Steve, who is a Norfolk Freemason who's benefited from help from the MCF. So somebody is struggling. They do need, like Steve, they need assistance. Maybe somebody listening to this right now is wondering whether the MCF can help them. What's the best way for somebody to reach out and make contact? I know there's an 0800 phone number. Is it best to call the number, or is it best to approach your almoner?
You can start with approaching the almoner, which is the almost obvious route, because the almoner will know, and it may be something the almoner can deal with locally. It may not need the MCF intervention. If it becomes a bigger problem, or if it is a bigger problem, I can be called. I'm available. I take regular calls, many calls every week, or emails. I can go through the process, the application, the time scales, and obviously probably my biggest thing I have to do is manage the expectations of people, because some things are not achievable. No matter with the best will in the world, you won't achieve them. But yeah, that's one way. And as you mentioned, you've got the free phone number, which is 0800 035 6090, normally answered very, very quickly. If it isn't, you can leave a message, and then the calls are normally picked up the same day and returned. Or you've got the email address, which is help@mcf.org.uk, and again it's exactly the same process. You outline your issues, that will be picked up by a member of the inquiry team, and they can call you back. So there are 4 routes which you can take to start the actual process going.
So somebody's chosen one of those routes, they've made contact with you guys. What happens next?
If they were to phone in on that phone line, our inquiries team would listen to their situation, advise on the ways that the MCF could perhaps support. If we can't offer support ourselves as an organisation, then we signpost and redirect people to other organisations that might be able to help as well. So if they are eligible, so they go through a criteria. There's lots of different checks that have to be made, eligibility from the Freemason point of view, and there's a very short financial check made at that point, which is why it's really good to go through the inquiries line if there is any queries, because all those checks are done at the very first point of contact. They will then explain over the phone that the case or the query will either go to a visiting volunteer to come out and meet with them face to face. We're lucky in Norfolk, like Neil said, we have a team of visiting volunteers that are all trained to come out and complete an application form with them. If the case is particularly tricky or a little bit complex, or there's certain areas that need expertise, that's when it comes over to me as advice and support, and I would either give them a call or go and see them face to face to go through the situation at that time.
Are the people who come out, are they Freemasons or are they part of your team?
So the visiting volunteers are all Freemasons, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all Freemasons. They've all done training at Great Queen Street at the MCF headquarters in the basement. They're all vetted so that they've all got DBS clearance. So they're all checked to make sure they're sound. They're aware of all their obligations for confidentiality. They never disclose any information that they're aware of. And once they've completed the application form and it's started in the process, they then destroy the forms. That's both digitally or on paper. So there's never a record kept beyond the time it's needed.
So I was going to ask you about that, actually. If a brother contacts the MCF, does his own lodge need to know about this, or is it kept completely separate from his own lodge?
Everything that comes through me or the MCF is confidential. It's never disclosed to anyone at any point. Within this province, the only two people that are aware, and I'm not aware of every single case, but I'm aware of the majority of cases. There are some which, at the request of the applicant, are blocked. So I can't see what's going on, who they are, what stage of process, what any grants are for. Caroline will see it, but I won't. So currently, it's the two people, us two, are the only two people that know what the cases are, and that won't change.
Yeah. And that's really important to clarify that, because we would never want that to be a barrier of why somebody wouldn't contact us. So yeah, just to clarify exactly what Neil said, our services and our support is confidential. There are many circumstances and reasons why somebody wouldn't want their PGA or anybody else to know, and we understand that. Absolutely, we understand that. But it's really important that when somebody phones the inquiries line, they state that from the offset and say, actually, can we keep this completely private and confidential? And then it is locked down on our system, and like Neil said, even the PGAs can't access that. So it's really important that people do understand that, because like I said, we'd hate that to be a barrier for people asking for support and getting support.
So if somebody's listening to this now thinking they need support, but they're unsure if they could get help from the MCF and from the Provincial Almoner, what would you say to them?
Pick the phone up.
Yes, cool, yeah, definitely.
Pick that phone up, absolutely. Don't delay. You've got nothing to lose by picking that phone up and asking the question. We would much prefer people make the call and say, actually, no, sorry, we can't help you on this occasion because of various reasons, rather than somebody sit there and have, needs that we could help with and they don't ask. And so, yeah, pick that phone up. We've also got the Eligibility Checker on our website, which is a great tool. So people can go on there, put some really simple information in, and they'll be told whether, it looks like they can get some support for us. So we'd always encourage people to look at our website. There's loads of resources on there, and certainly have a look at the Eligibility Checker. That's a really, really good point of
the Eligibility
reference.
Checker is also good because it's anonymous.
Yes, it is.
So there's no identifying features. So whoever puts there, all you're putting in is figures. There's no names. There's no personal information about yourself. So it is just literally money and funding and what you have or haven't got. And that's all it is on the eligibility tracker. As Caroline said, within the body of the MCF pages on the MCF site, there are so many fact sheets which cover bereavement, debt, drug addiction, rehousing, respite care. The list goes on and on and on. And all these fact sheets have signpost into other outside organisations which can help, even if the Freemasons can't help.
From the horse's mouth, the Norfolk Freemasonry Podcast.
When you think of the MCF and you think about brethren needing support, it's not just the financial side. And I know we touched on this earlier. There's a whole lot more support available, isn't
Absolutely, yeah. So as part of the advice and support team, like I said, we are trained. We have lots of training on all sorts of issues, and we are here to give guidance, support and information to people in various different situations. But one of the big things at the moment is giving people support and guidance on social care system. it's a minefield out there with social care, knowing what help you can get, whether you have to pay for it, whether you don't, and how to get that support. And also, recently as well, with the change of government, people are looking at benefits and what they may be able to claim. So we always complete full benefits checks for people when they make contact with us. And you'll be surprised, a simple benefits check with myself, what it can pick up on and the benefits you're not in receipt of. Certainly with pension credit, which is a benefit that's talked about a lot now because obviously the government's making changes. But yeah, we would just say make contact with us, just have a chat. We can advise you if we think there are benefits out there that you're not claiming, and we can go through that with you, help with the process of applying. But yeah, we're not just a charity that gives out money. It's far more than that. We are a team of experts that can give advice on various different issues.
One of the areas which is definitely increasing is mental health. The MCF offer a counselling session and enhanced mental health counselling, which is obviously the more serious cases, and the care goes on over a longer period. It's 6 weeks for the first level, and if there's a greater need, that will go on for 12 weeks. That can be on the phone, it can be via Zoom or Teams, and if there is someone available, it can be face-to-face as well. This depends on the area and the timing, but that's there, and that's certainly something which is on the up across the board. There are more and more people requesting that help, and we mentioned that most things are means tested. The mental health isn't means tested, and that one we would direct people to call the MCF because we don't want them to go over any issues. It's far better they say it once and then get directed to the right people as soon as possible.
And that support is actioned very, very quickly.
So that's the 0800 number, the 0800 035 6090.
6090, yep.
0800 035 6090 if you do need the mental health support. Now we're going to put all this work into context, and it's amazing work, and hear from a Norfolk Freemason who has been helped by the MCF recently and also helped by their Lodge Almoner. This is Steve's story.
My name is Stephen Giles Jefferies. I'm 56 years old. I've been a Freemason for approximately 25 years. I met Karen, the lady who became my wife, in 1988 on a blind date when I was home on leave from the army. And happy day. We married 4 years later after I'd come out of the army, and began our journey of life together, which was fantastic. After Karen and I were married, we just put our noses down to the grindstone and got on with the blur of work. I was a fabricator welder, installing commercial food handle equipment, and Karen was a nurse. 2015, 2016, Karen began to notice a problem with her left hand. She was unable to grip the forceps. She worked for the plastics team at Bupa Spire Norwich, and they thought she had a trapped nerve in her arm, and that just all seemed very mechanical at the time. And then one of the chaps suggested that she see a neurologist called David Dick, and he worked in the office opposite Karen. After Karen explained her family history, the consultant David Dick said it would be ignorant of me not to test you for motor neuron disease, and that's when the bombshell hit. Our journey with Karen's motor neuron probably took place over the course of 3 years. The first year, you wouldn't have known there was anything wrong with Karen. You know, she was able-bodied, but as time went on, this able-bodiedness kind of disappeared. And I can remember talking to several of my friends in the lodge, my close friends, and one of them, Derek Torrens, he said to me, he said, "Stephen, would you like us to get the MCF involved?" And I thought, what, why? What can they do? This journey is personal. It's between is Karen and I facing the world together and hopefully putting on a brave face. By a year and a half in, things were not good. You find yourself improvising, adapting, and trying to overcome the situation only to be faced by the next one. And the Lodge Almoner, he got MCF representative, and things just started to become easier. Firstly with Karen's mobility, They got a wheelchair, motorised wheelchair, and then a stair lift, and then a shower, and everything was no problem. You know, that was like when the going got tough, they helped. We were preparing to go for the long distance with motor neuron, which would have been a bed with the hoists and going on to like a bathroom, and MCF helped with all of that. And unfortunately, before that was actually completed, Karen contracted a cold and passed away. The legacy of how the MCF stepped in and helped Karen and I was that my father, who'd been a mason for the best part of 30 years, when he actually became elderly and infirm, he was able to come and live with me, and I was able to look after him and hold his hand when he passed away, and exactly the same with my mum, Nora, who I held her hand while she passed away, using the same facility, which had all been set up for my wife Karen, and that's my story.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for allowing us to share your story and your journey. We wish you all the best. Caroline, you come out to lodges, is that right?
I get invited to attend lodge meetings, and I give a short presentation. It can be, well, as long as short as you want it, really. Normally it's about 10 minutes, just giving the facts, really, about the support available from the MCF. And we find that really has a great impact, because, you know, they're hearing it from me. They go away, go home, talk to their partners at home. And we do find that we have a great response after I have been into lodges and given a talk like that.
So this would be a white table evening for a lodge, and the good thing about that is partners can come in as well.
Absolutely,
and hear about all the support. Something you've been doing quite a bit of in Suffolk.
Yes, so Suffolk are very engaging with getting me into lodges, because they can see that it works really, really well. So yeah, I do go into lodges, and they
They have their meetings, they complete their business, and at the conclusion of the business, you then go into
I do. I go into the room.
The temple.
Yes, yeah. The temple, and everybody's still got their gear on, and it's great. I've been made to feel very, very welcome, and it just hits home hearing it from me. And then actually I always stay for the festive board as well.
Excellent.
And then I get the opportunity to speak to people afterwards, because some people, certainly in lodge meetings, they don't want to ask questions in front of other people, so they often talk to me afterwards, and it's working really, really well. So if there's any Norfolk lodges out there that would like me to attend, please contact Neil and we can make that happen. If
a lodge hasn't got any work, you've got a very, very valid and important presentation. It will show you what's going on, and it gives the lodge something to do. There is something there to see, so it's really worth doing if you can. And there are plenty of times where lodges don't have work.
And Caroline, you got a leaflet there. What's that about?
I have. So as myself and Neil have said, the resources on our website are amazing, and I think everyone needs to go on there and just remind themselves of what's available on there. But my favourite leaflet is a leaflet called "Can We Help You?" And from my point of view, it's a really important leaflet because it covers everything about what the MCF does. It's also got a magnetic card in there, which has got the free phone telephone number, the website. And what we encourage people to do is to put that on their fridge, put it on, anywhere where other family members will see. So in a time of need, they can see that and think, actually, let's phone the MCF just to see if we are eligible for any help. We're on a bit of a mission. We'd really like this leaflet in every home in the province, really. And again, we've managed to near on achieve that in Suffolk. So, why can't we do that in Norfolk? Because this leaflet should be in everybody's home.
Anyone can order the forms and leaflets from the MCF site. You don't have to be an almoner, and you can order 50, 100, and they will send them direct to you. There's no cost involved. It's very user-friendly.
Before we go, let's do the contact details again. If somebody's listening to this thinking, I'm going to get some help.
Right, my contact details are as the provincial website. My mobile telephone number is 07717203663. My email is provalmoner, all one word, lowercase, at norfolkfreemasons.org. You can leave a message for me and I will always get back to you as quickly as possible, and the same with an email. As soon as I receive the email, I always try to get back, because if someone's actually contacted me, it's obviously gone beyond that point and they're going to need assistance, so I do try to answer as quickly as possible.
And the MCF details, our inquiries team number is 0800 035 6090, or the email address is help@mcf.org.uk.
Caroline, Neil, it's been a real pleasure welcoming you to the From the Horse's Mouth podcast studio. And if you've listened to the podcast before, you'll know that everybody who gives up their time to come in gets their very own From the Horse's Mouth mug. And
Wonderful.
I'd like to present you both with your very own mug. These are collector's items.
Wonderful.
There you go, Caroline, there's yours.
Thank you very much. I will treasure that.
With a picture of Dobbin. And we've got budget for 2 mugs this month, by the way, so you'll be glad.
Thank you very much, John. I'm glad there wasn't a competition this month.
No, I wouldn't put you through that this month, no.
But we've also got a goodie bag for you.
Oh, that's very kind.
There you go.
Look at that. That's a tote bag, isn't it? My other half loves these. She'll have this for the shopping.
There's bits and pieces in there that you'll find useful on a day-to-day basis.
The Norfolk Freemasonry Podcast.
2 guests again next month, as we're going to be catching up with not 1 but 2 Grand Officers. Worshipful Brother Kevin Hodds, past Provincial Director of Ceremonies, and Worshipful Brother Terry Lukowski, past Provincial Secretary, to talk about their roles as visiting officers in the province of Norfolk. Until next time, happy have we met, happy may we part, and happy meet again.
From the Horse's Mouth, the Norfolk Freemasonry Podcast.